Revelations.Unveiled.Detroit. Hello, family. Hello, family. Hello, family. We're back together again, where we are reviewing another piece of information. And this time, we will be looking at it from the standpoint of the good cop. And so, family, in this turbulent climate of protests nationally, the Asian hate crime propaganda, the anti-Black racism institutional practices of the family, the brothers and sisters of the world, the trial of Chauvin over the murder of George Floyd, the continuing instances, continuing episodes, the continuing viewing of police brutalities, police aggressions against common citizens, and most specifically, disproportionately to the family. So when we think of the police, some of us have mixed feelings. Some of us have members of our families who are law enforcement agents, and acquaintances and friends, etc. So encountering a police interaction for us family is always questionable, and we always pray that we will be on the surviving end at the end of that interaction. And so we will be looking at an officer who was out serving and protecting, and in the course of her job, she was fired for preventing the continuing brutality and destruction of the body of a prisoner, of a detainee. So family, we will be reviewing a couple of quick videos and getting some more information as we review these incidences through our spiritual eyes and ears as we continue our spiritual examinations of the carnal existence. So we want to make sure, family, we give all due respect to all said parties with the Fair Use Act. So let us find out what's going on with Sister Carol Horn.
Welcome back to CBS This Morning. Nationwide protests over police brutality are putting new scrutiny on the role of officers who witness fellow officers using brutal or unnecessary force on suspects. Former Buffalo, New York police officer Carrie Horn was fired after she says she stopped a white officer on the black suspect. Now, Buffalo City Council is asking the New York State Attorney General to investigate Horn's firing. National correspondent Jerika Duncan spoke with Horn. Jerika, good morning.
Good morning. You know, I covered the case of Carrie Horn in Buffalo. At the time, it didn't get national interest, or headlines rather, but now you can see that there has been a renewed interest in a case that ended Carrie Horn's career. Looking at the video, it was very upsetting. And I felt that if one of those officers had stepped in, that he would be alive today.
Carrie Horn, a nearly 20-year veteran of the Buffalo Police Department, says the image of George Floyd dying at the hands of police is triggering. In 2006, then Officer Horn made headlines after intervening when she says fellow officer Greg Kwiatkowski was choking a black suspect, Neil Mack.
I couldn't breathe.
What was it that day that made you jump in?
Neil Mack
looked like he was about to die. So had I not stepped in, he could have. He was handcuffed and being choked.
The Buffalo Police Department brought disciplinary charges against Horn and fired her in 2008, a few months before she was eligible to receive a full pension. Greg Kwiatkowski sued Horn and her lawyer for defamation. In 2011, a judge found that 8 statements Horn's lawyer made were defamatory and false, including the claim that Horn saved the life of a suspect who was already in handcuffs and was choked out by Officer Greg Kwiatkowski. Neil Mack, the suspect at the center of the nearly 14-year-old case, maintains to this day that Cariel Horn saved his life.
He was choking me. I was handcuffed. Cariel Horn said, "You killing him, Greg," and she reached over and tried to grab his hand around my neck.
In 2012, in a lawsuit brought by Mack, a jury found no wrongdoing by the Buffalo in his arrest. After Greg Kwiatkowski, he was sentenced to 4 months in federal prison in 2018 for using unlawful and unreasonable force against 4 Black teenagers.
Unlawful, unnecessary force. The same thing that I said he did.
Horn says she's turned her pain into activism. When she saw the recent video of Buffalo police pushing a 75-year-old protester to the ground, she says it was yet another trigger.
So now, if they can push a 5-year-old white man when it's still daylight out, just think of what they do to our young Black kids at nighttime.
Horn says these days she's at peace because she stands by what she did. Still, she broke down when I asked her how this has impacted her children.
It's important for me to be truthful because this has been a lot of years. So when you talk about where did the raw emotion come from, it's because I have fought all of these and tried to keep it together for my children.
Horn is now fighting for her full pension. She's also pushing legislation called Cariel's Law, which she says would protect police if they intervene from being retaliated against. As for the Buffalo Police Department, they tell CBS this morning that in 2006, Officer Horn requested that her case be reviewed by an independent arbitrator. The arbitrator recommended termination after lengthy hearings, and the police commissioner at the time followed that recommendation. Former Buffalo Police Lieutenant Greg Kwiatkowski could not be reached, and his former lawyer responded to our request for comment. Anthony?
Eureka, thank you. Such a complicated and obviously still a lot of questions in that case.
So family, we have the cops, the agents of the state or municipality, supposed to serve and protect. And we assume as citizens that all cops are good or will be good. And then we get a situation with a man who is being detained. And this man is handcuffed and he's being abused and terrorized and his life threatened while being choked by this officer. So we have the partner of the rogue, dangerous, terrorist cop who intervenes to save the life of the citizen of whom they've taken an oath to protect. And the very agency that employs this officer retaliated against her and fired her and made her go through several administrative appeals to regain or restore her officership, while that same rogue white officer continued to work until he was imprisoned under federal charges for the same levels of abuse and terrorism and assault. So family, are there good cops? Well, here's an example of a good cop, one who intervened and protected and served on the behalf of a citizen from the very partner who was under the same guidelines. So America, the question is, how are we supposed to know which cop will show up? Will it be the one to terrorize, traumatize, degrade, and destroy? Or will it be the one to serve and protect? And it seems that the very blue wall of silence protects those officers who report wrongdoing and abuse. So let's get a little bit more information in detail, family, and find out. It says the police department brought disciplinary charges against Horn and fired her in 2008. And they sandbagged her through the court system by accusing her lawyers of making false statements. And the officer wasn't even found guilty by the municipality. So what is the standard, family? What necessitates? What would a judge or any normal American regard as abuse and wrongdoing by a cop? So this is not clear waters, muddy, dirty waters. And unfortunately, the good cops are smothered under the stink and rot of the blue wall that will protect these wicked slave patrolling established race soldiers. So family, we give respect to the officers who deserve just and thus do. But we be aware of them all. They're in one gang. So are they there to serve and protect us? We never know. And hopefully we never will. And so we will keep up our antenna in the carnal sense, but we will keep open our spiritual eyes and our spiritual ears, and we will continue to persevere and endure. We will overcome. And these wicked soldiers of unrighteousness who parade and disguise themselves in police uniforms will not prevail. They will only push the family into a situation where we shall see if you are truly a peace officer. So family, we shall resume on the next presentation in love, in joy, education, and edification for the holy hidden nation. And so we will express ourselves as always. And until we are together again, I love you. I love you. I love you. This is Revelations.Unveiled. Detroit. We're going to take it home with the usual music, family. Have a good day. Revelations.Unveiled.Detroit.